It's always so funny because we have to start these, but we've already been
I
talking.
know. Yes, exactly. So,
Okay. Well, good
good
morning.
morning. You didn't miss anything good, if you were wondering.
Yeah.
This recording, I have decided that I'm going to not take deep breaths.
Good luck.
Thanks.
We both do it.
I know. I'm going to be very aware.
Okay. I will try to.
Okay.
You know what else I do that's super annoying?
Hmm.
Is when I start to laugh, my first laugh is super loud. So I'm constantly editing out the first segment because otherwise it's like startling.
I just muffled my laugh because I think I do the same. Yeah. And I do the same thing. It's like, ha! Or whatever it is. It's fine. Okay. So we have decided to start to record us on Zoom
Mm-hmm.
because I was given this tip. So we have said this and we're starting to deliver on it, but we have really cool guests that are coming on. One of them I was chatting with who excited to have is also in marketing. And so when we were talking, just doing a chat to see like, oh, what direction should we go so that it benefits both of us?
Mm-hmm.
She was like, can I give you a tip? And I said, please, just the tip.
Because she also has a podcast, right?
Not this woman, no, but she
Okay.
does marketing. So
Oh,
she,
right, right,
yeah.
right. Okay.
So she said you need to start recording yourselves, like even just to make some reels on
Mm-hmm.
Instagram. And we knew that.
Yeah.
So I texted Megan yesterday and I was like, you have to look cute now. And
Well, just not like I rolled out of bed. Cute might be a stretch, but maybe just not like a homeless person.
correct. We do tend to keep we have very similar style when we're relaxed that we did when we were in high school, which
Yes.
is like a hoodie
Yes.
and track pants.
Yes.
And now I have a sweater on and jeans. I actually have jeans on. Not that you can see them, but I'm like, I think it's time.
I also have jeans on. I think it's going to be easier for me over the summer because I tend to have more meetings. So I have to get ready for my day
Mm-hmm.
anyway, regardless of if we're recording. But I
Right?
think once it gets past wedding season, this is going to be
Yeah.
tough. But
Yeah.
we'll do it because yeah, it's the feedback from our crowd.
And also, we're so adorable.
Yeah, I feel like we have gotten some new listeners recently. So welcome.
Yeah. Thanks for joining us.
Yes, thanks for joining us. One thing I did want to mention before we get into everything here is just a reminder, and for all of the new people here, remember our group trip is coming up November 30th through December 3rd. We've got lots of information on my Dare to Dream travel website. We've posted some reels about it, and we even have a podcast episode about it. Link is in our social media. Just DM us to learn more. It's going to be super fun, relaxed, and we want everybody to come. So, limited amount of rooms left. Please reach out if you are interested so that we can get your name on one of them.
And also, another thing, going back to guests coming on,
Yes,
we are going to have a dream interpreter on.
I'm so excited for this.
Me too. So I actually have been getting up in the morning and writing my dreams down, and then I ask ChatGPT what they mean. So I'm excited for this for sure. So if you are having, like, I do think this would be really cool for like weddings.
Mm-hmm.
So if you're getting married, if you're the mother or parent, father of the bride or groom, whatever,
Yeah.
we know you're having dreams about the wedding. So
Yeah.
we want to interpret them on this episode. So if you could shoot us an email. Oh, not to throw this up, not to freak everybody out, but we did change our email address, and
Yes.
it's now Jen and Megan at theplannerspassport.com. Or you can DM us
Yeah.
whatever you want.
Because Megan is spelled many different ways. So we'll have to like do a little post about it.
Also, by the way, I think I brought this up to you recently that I was going through old journals.
Uh-huh.
Do you know I called you Meg?
Yeah, I hate when people call me Meg now.
Is that new? Like, though, because I mean, obviously you were okay with it if that's how I referred to you, or were you just like people pleasing and you didn't want to let me know that you hated that I called you Meg?
I don't think it bothered me as much because I really don't remember it. I don't remember you calling me Meg. Do you remember Ryan Loyce?
Sure do.
Okay, so I remember Ryan Loyce from high school. He used to always call me Megs. And I remember I did not mind that, but I also had a crush on him for a little bit my sophomore year. So that's probably why.
You had such an interesting taste in man.
We didn't have a good selection.
That's fair. Anywho's it's.
So we have a new email.
We have a new email, Jen and Megan, Megan.
No crazy letters in there. No H's.
No. No offense to Megan's with H's.
We're offending so many people today. We're going to offend a lot of people on this episode. So
I know. Well,
this is just par for the course. We're just warming you up.
I offended a bunch of mothers recently, so I'm so glad. I'm excited. I'm excited for this episode.
Yeah.
So do you want to lead us into it?
Yeah. Was there anything else that we wanted? Oh, before we get into it, can I tell you a little bit of something about my wedding this past weekend?
Oh, please.
Because I actually want to hear your take on this.
Okay.
So I had a very large wedding this past weekend. It was a more high-end wedding, and I'll try to make this short. We had a lot of catering logistics that we had to deal with. There's an in-house catering that the venue typically uses, and then we needed to do a bunch of kosher meals for a large group of people. So it was probably, I don't know for sure, but maybe even a quarter of the guests, maybe a little under a quarter were kosher. And I'm not just talking about when you have a kosher meal and the meal gets brought and they get the kosher meal. This was a strict kosher menu where we had to have separate appetizers being passed. We had to have different place settings, so different plates, silverware, everything had to come in. Nobody could touch it right after it got set on the table. There's a lot of restrictions with this, but essentially we had two teams, and this is a religious element that we were wanting to respect, obviously. So we put in a lot of thought into this wedding ahead of time. And we went into this, myself and the two caterers, with what we thought was a very good game plan. So one thing that we didn't want to do is we didn't want to split people up. We didn't want to say, okay, well, we're going to put all of the guests who need to have kosher meals over here and all of the other guests over here. We didn't want to segregate people. So people were interspersed at the tables. Okay. The couple did not want to seat guests at the tables, which means they were picking up place cards and bringing them to the table. Now, as you can imagine, if there's a table and I know.
Couldn't. That's not
okay. But listen, that's not even the issue, because this is okay. So
how hard did you fight that though? Can we just interrupt and just say, if you want to do anything like what Megan's talking about, you pre-seat people, period.
Okay.
Yes. You didn't die on the hill. Why not?
Because we had a plan, and I'll tell you what the plan was. And that did not end up even being the problem.
Okay.
That wasn't the problem.
Okay.
So what we did is we had the place cards, and then let's just say there's 4 kosher, 4 non-kosher people sitting at a table. Mind you, many of the tables were full kosher. They were just mixed in with the other tables, okay?
You know what's funny, and this will be funny now,
is how much hand stuff I do.
No, while you're talking about this, I'm playing with this little Jesus that someone gave me, which I don't even, care about Jesus that much, but I like that we're talking about a Jewish wedding, and I'm like, tell me about it.
Chewing on Jesus.
Okay.
Oh my God. Okay. So they pick up their place card. They go to their table. There are 4 place settings, let's say, that are kosher, 4 that are not. And we have the kosher place settings labeled with very clear signs that say kosher, kosher, kosher. So if you come to the table and you have requested a kosher meal, which is also indicated on your place card, you are going to sit at the kosher labeled place setting. This all went fine. You know what did not go fine? People moved seats.
That's what I was...
No, even if they would have had a place card there, they took their place card and stuff and were moving chairs and were going to different spots.
At different tables?
Yes.
Why do people do that?
I don't know. And it was kosher guests and non-kosher guests. So I'm not singling anybody out. But you can imagine that this was a problem because we had a plan in place. And so it ended up being fine.
Don't say that. No, don't say that.
No. I'm saying I need to figure out how to prevent this next time because
That's what I'm saying.
I don't know. I don't know what the answer is. Like, do you need a sign by the place cards that's like,
Do not move.
please do not, I am begging you not to move seats or move tables? It just made a really slow dinner service.
I think, first of all, side note, Megan is a great planner. Okay. So everyone should know that. But you should say on this podcast that dinner was ruined because of this. Like we need to put the fear of Jesus
Right.
into people. That's rude. I don't know how else to, first of all, whether there's a kosher meal or not, I don't care. We've talked about this. This couple has agonized over where people are going to sit. There's a reason we do it. We need to expedite dinner service.
Yeah.
You know, if you don't want your food to be cold or dinner to take forever, follow the fucking rules.
There are weddings that I have where guests come up to me and are super rude. They don't want to sit where they're sitting and they're super rude and they're demanding to go to another table. That was not this wedding. These people who were doing this just did it without even asking and telling people, which I will say is rude. However, I don't think they realized that they were doing anything wrong, if that makes sense.
So that's why we're telling people here.
Yes.
If this podcast exists for any reason,
Yeah.
it's to help make guests not be terrible.
Yeah.
I get it.
It's ultimately, and I was like, well, this is a religious component. It's not like, oh, well, if you get beef and you ordered chicken, like that's your own fault, right? You're not getting the right meal. I'm really trying to respect these dietary requirements, and that's hard to do when people are moving around.
And the plates were blessed by a freaking rabbi.
Yes.
So, you know, I mean, what I would say to that is if you actually care about your silverware being not touched and then follow the rules, which is if the rules at a wedding, here's a rule. Maybe people don't know it's a rule.
Right. I don't
Rule
know.
number 1, whatever table the couple have said that you are to sit at is the table you are to sit at, period.
Right.
That's the rule.
Yes.
And you don't need to know why, and you don't need to care about why. Let us do that.
Yeah.
We'll take care of you.
Right.
But ugh.
Yeah. So that was the issue. And so I just wanted to, throw that out there because it was challenging.
Yeah. Well,
there we
I
go.
kind of hope somebody had a
No, you don't.
non-blessed. I know. I know. I'm not that mean. I am trying to be in my villain era.
Are you?
And I feel like you're going to join me.
We should take those online quizzes of which like Disney villain are you?
Ooh, is there one?
I'm sure.
Okay.
I'm sure.
Yeah,
You know,
okay.
BuzzFeed or something.
Oh, BuzzFeed, that just dated you. So thank you for telling everybody how old we are. All right, Megan, what are we talking about today?
Okay, so today we're talking about the hot topic of awards. Wedding and industry awards. Jen is already kind of laughing because
I have thoughts.
do you have thoughts?
I do.
I'll be interested to hear your thoughts. So this was kind of my idea. Jen kind of went off last week on her tangent about moms, which I just sat back and
Megan does not agree with.
again, I do not agree.
She had to go eat a fillet of fish after that to calm her nervous system. She was like, yeah. Anyways, okay.
Anyway, so here's my chance to get into my villain era. There are in any industry a lot of industry awards. If you're a doctor or any profession, I think they give out awards for stuff, right?
Yeah, I mean, at McDonald's, you get Employee of the Month. I mean,
Sure.
there's always awards everywhere.
You love McDonald's.
Oh, God, I do.
But the thing about a lot of these awards is that they aren't like legitimate. It's like paid advertising. And here's my thing. If you want to do that for your company, if you want to be involved in that, I am not against it. The reason that I kind of have this beef with it, that I wanted to do this podcast, is more of a PSA because I've had some encounters with couples early on. I've had some encounters with wedding industry people that are just starting out that don't really understand how these things work. And if you don't understand how these things actually work, it can be really stressful. And my issue with it is I think it's a bit misleading. And that's what I want to kind of talk about today.
And I will agree because fell victim to it as well. Like when I was first getting into the industry, because
Yeah.
I was pretty fresh when I moved down to Chicago, and I would like because I think we could take this. We don't have to, but I would say we could take it a step further too. Well, I think it's all encompassing,
Yeah.
but the award of like, oh, the top 10 best planners in the country in these magazines.
Right.
And so I would get these magazines thinking that I was like, oh, I'm learning the cream of the crop of Chicago vendors.
Right.
And then you get in and you realize like, oh, well, I just got an email from this magazine, and if I pay $500, I too could be the best planner in.
And that's exactly it. So
Yeah.
I had a couple a couple things. I fell victim to it too. When I was first starting, I would use that as a resource almost of be like, okay, I don't know really a lot of vendors right now. So I'm going to look at like these best of lists. And the people are probably fine for different reasons, but it's not truly the best. And we're going to talk about why it could be. It very well could be.
Yeah.
But we're just going to talk about why that kind of comes up.
Right. Because I would say, unless you're, which that could be a whole other thing, but if you have the money for that type of advertisement, hopefully your company is doing well.
Right.
And so you have the money for these types of
Yes.
connections and advertisements, if you will.
But there's the flip side of that of there are vendors out there who are not going to pay for it because they are so good at what they do, they don't need to pay for it.
Yeah.
They're not included.
Mic drop. That's Megan.
No, I'm just stating it as a fact.
And me. That's us. Boom.
No, I don't like the misconception. I had a couple one time early on. We went to a vendor meeting. It was a photographer, I think. And I tagged along to the vendor meeting, and she's doing her pitch and, great. And then she goes, and I have this magazine here because I am listed as one of the top 10 photographers in the country of Martha Stewart Weddings magazine, right? That's what you were talking about, where it's like, well, no, Martha Stewart magazine didn't hunt them down because they were doing a great job. They were willing to pay to be in the magazine. It's different.
Mm-hmm.
I got solicited by Vogue one time. Do you know how much that was?
Oh.
To be the best of?
How much?
10 grand.
Holy smokes.
I'm not paying that.
Well, here is
and
something.
It's misleading. It is misleading.
It is. Here's something super bitchy that I did. And I don't know if it was with you, because I can't remember. I think it was a Milwaukee-based person.
Mm-hmm.
But they were like pimping that on LinkedIn that they were featured in Vogue or some magazine. Was this you? And I screenshotted it and sent it to you.
Oh, I don't remember.
Oh.
I don't remember. And did you think it was like a real thing?
No.
Oh, okay.
Not at all.
Okay.
That's why I was being a bitch.
Oh, you were just being bitchy. Yeah, then it was probably me.
Yeah. Yeah. Megan and I are each other's outlet for that whole can I be a bitch for a minute? You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Yes.
So I wanted to talk, this isn't going to be a long episode, but like I said, it's kind of like a PSA to new vendors because I think it can cause stress for up and coming vendors in the market of thinking like, oh, this is what I have to strive to. And if that's your goal, that's okay, but just know what it is.
Right.
And if you're a couple raw dogging your wedding, as we always say, and you are looking at vendors and you are looking at online and that's showing these various awards, I'm not saying they're not deserved, but maybe think about how they got them, how the vote, who's included, just give it a little thought.
And at some point, I think I'll have not a counterpoint, but I think I have an exception maybe.
Good.
Yeah.
Okay. Most awards are for the person giving the award to make money. Mm-hmm. Because it's advertising, right? You have to pay into it. So the example I'm going to use, I have a couple different examples. I'm going to call this company out because I don't really feel bad and they're huge. The Knot. So.
Okay. Oh, yeah, let's go.
Do you have a counterpoint for this?
Well, I want to hear what you say because this was my potential counterpoint. So this is perfect.
Oh, okay. So I advertised on The Knot for many years.
Yes.
You have to pay to advertise on The Knot. Now you're going to see on The Knot that there are awards, best of wedding planner, best of da-da-da. Those are not voted on by The Knot. How you get that is you have to get 10 good reviews on your Knot page. Now, that's great. So you have to be
Right.
doing weddings.
Yes.
You have to get good reviews.
Correct.
However, it's not hard to get 10 good reviews. And if you really wanted to, your mom could submit a review.
I never thought about that.
Yeah. I mean, you can make up an email address and submit it. They're not checking this.
I never thought. I am not a criminal. I don't have the mind of a criminal. Just, you know what I mean? Like whenever I hear something like brilliant like that, I'm like, oh God, that's brilliant.
But like, I'm not saying it's bad, but it shouldn't be the end all be all.
Yeah.
Right?
Right.
Because the Knot wants you to want to get these awards. So what do you have to do to get one? You got to advertise with them. You got to give them your money. Okay.
Which I did too. I don't anymore.
I don't anymore either. But that's a thing, right? I think people see that and it's a thing. Okay.
Yeah.
So sometimes you're just paying. It really is. You're just paying for it. And then we'd already talked about the print advertising. So if there is any award in a magazine, like Vogue, like we talked about, like Martha Stewart magazine, and you're thinking to yourself, wow, this is really too good to be true that this random vendor got included, it's probably because they just paid. We could do a Planner's Passport best of award and have people all have to pay us $50. And of those people, we could just say, pick.
Let's do that.
No.
I think we should do that. I'm tired of playing by the rules. All right, but here's what I will say.
Yeah.
I agree, but okay, I actually do know some Martha Stewart and like Vogue, they've been awarded these best of whatevers. I guess not so much Vogue, but Martha Stewart, they're pretty good. I mean, they're real good.
Well, you have to be because you have to pay a shit ton of money to get in there.
Well, and I think I would want to know if there's kind of you must probably have to apply too.
No.
Yes.
I didn't apply to Vogue.
Well, do you think it was real? I'm so confused by this because...
Yes, because I know that there was somebody in my market who paid to do it.
I think that's the one that I screenshot.
I've gotten the Wall Street Journal. I've gotten tons of stuff.
But there's no I want to know if they have to be weeding out because you're telling me that what if I picked up a camera today?
Sure. Okay. They're probably weeding out a little bit, but that's not my point. The point is it's not the best. It could be, but it's not.
No. I just want to make sure there has to be some sort of
Yes, there's probably some that are more legit than others.
Yeah.
But my point is, if you're looking at this stuff, understand the playing field. It's going to be people who have bought into it. Mm-hmm. Even if there's some sort of voting that might be included, if it's a print magazine, 9 times out of 10, the playing field is the people who are advertising with that group. Pay to play.
Okay. Yeah. Okay. Totally. Yep. Okay.
So you're going to want to look at the playing field. And then the other thing to think about is how the actual voting works and if there is voting. So we kind of talked about sometimes there's no vote, like our Knot stuff. If you are advertising on the Knot, they'll give out those best of awards to as many people as get those 10 reviews. It's not like, the top 3, get them.
I'm in the Hall of Fame.
So am I. It is not a big deal.
I know. I knew you were going to say that. We are a couple of Hall of Fame planners. So ignore what Megan's saying and just hire us because we're the best. Yes. Okay. Anyways.
So if there is voting, great. Sometimes that can make it a little bit more legit, I guess. But I think...
Now, would that be at events? Wasn't there just one up there, Wisconsin Bride or something? Do they vote?
So there was voting. I will say, because I don't want to call anybody out specifically. So I don't advertise with them. I don't I don't do dealings with Wisconsin Bride, so I don't want to speak about them specifically because I don't know, right? I
Fair.
don't know the behind the scenes.
Yeah.
But I know there was voting. I mean, we could use it as an example. So their first round of voting for any category is you just have to get votes. You have to get votes from anybody. So
Again, like your mom, or you can make up an email account.
probably, I don't know, like maybe, but like think about the bigger companies. Like there are bigger companies who do so many more weddings in a year than some smaller companies.
Right.
And so when you are a couple looking at these awards, understand that if it's a lot of times it's the bigger companies competing against each other because naturally they're just going to get more votes.
Mm-hmm.
That doesn't mean that the smaller companies aren't as good.
Right.
They might not have as many employees. They might not do as many weddings for whatever reason. So just keep that in mind.
Yeah, I don't care anymore, but for the longest time, I had a little bit of a chip on my shoulder because of that. Not because I wanted an award, but just recognition.
Mm.
And what was frustrating for me is like, I was doing really good weddings and bringing this business to different companies in Chicago, of course. But because I wasn't doing
Mhm.
80, 100 weddings a year, they focus on all of these big
Right.
planning companies because they see it as volume. So it's quantity over quality.
Yes.
And I would always be like, dude, I know I only bring you 2 weddings a year, but they're solid. And then I would get all salty because
Yeah.
I don't get invited. I wanted an award and I wanted a pat on the back.
You wanted a trophy.
And a McRib and a kiss on my forehead. Okay.
That is so funny. It's like such an honest answer. We were at dinner the other night and my son, who's 10, he was talking about running for student council next year. And we asked him, we said, well, why do you want to run for student council? And he said, because if I win, it'll make me feel good.
Yep. Yep.
It's like, that's the bottom line. Like, I mean, he's honest. He's 10. Like, that doesn't matter.
And I'm 42 and I'm like, can somebody please just tell me I'm doing a good job and that they're proud of me? I have some mother-father wounds I'm working through, okay?
Okay.
So I get it. I get it.
So volume. Also, when you get married, you are working with all of your vendors. I hope that every couple that gets married, regardless of how much your wedding costs, regardless of the size, I hope that you think that every vendor that worked your wedding is the absolute best.
Mm-hmm.
Like that's what you want, right? Like you want to think that all of the vendors that worked your wedding are the best.
I always say too, like when I'm working with my couples and they're book, I'm like have this photographer meeting.
Mm-hmm.
I always say you should be booking them for their talent, but also you should want to get a beer with everybody that you're hiring.
Yeah.
Like after your wedding's over, you should want to hang out with everybody.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And so these companies that do more weddings, they're going to most likely get all the votes of their it's just volume. It's just volume. So
volume wins every time. They win awards.
Yeah, nobody is looking at like the weddings and
no, like I bet
they're just counting the votes.
I bet George Street Photography has a like best of photographer and they're do not hire them ever. Anybody, don't hire them. Are they up there too or just in Chicago?
Yeah.
Oh God.
I think they are up here. I mean, it's like yeah.
Oh, I will go on record.
And then we kind of talked about this too. Think about like who can vote. If you're a bride or a groom and you're thinking about these awards, thinking about who can vote. Is it just anybody? Like, is it your mom, your cousin? Is somebody really qualifying this with a panel? That might, I don't know what the solution to this is. And that's not my point, is to find one or to eliminate it. I just want people to be aware of how this works.
I'm going to tell a story real quick because I get your point. But I remember before I was in the industry, one of my friends was in the industry and they were a part of an award, like best of.
Yeah.
We were young. We were like in our late 20s. So like we still had friends that we hung out with all the time.
Yeah.
And we all went and voted. And we didn't even try any other of the food.
Right.
I mean, I still believe that they should have won because it was a solid product. But just to your point,
Yeah.
a ton of 20-somethings came in and voted as many times as we could. And yeah.
Right. Well, I mean, we all remember high school.
Ugh.
Uh-huh. There are things that you vote on in high school, like prom, homecoming court.
Do you know that I have a huge issue about homecoming senior year?
Oh, God.
Do you know that I should have been on that court? No, just letting you know.
Do you want to let the world know? I have no idea what you're talking about right now, actually. And the fact that you still care about this is funny to me.
Well, okay, I only care about it because I was what we would call a late bloomer, okay? So I came into high school a total loser nerd. I will share a picture of what I looked like. I literally probably on my first day wore a Winnie the Pooh sweatshirt and walked in and was like, "Hi, here I am." And everybody was like, "Oh God." And then my sophomore year, I came back to school and teachers didn't recognize, like nobody recognized me. I was like, "Hi, it's me, Jennifer Ganson." I grew like 4 inches and I became conventionally attractive. So it was always like this weird comeback. Like I was like trying to have this comeback story.
Yeah.
So my senior year, I feel like is when thankfully was not somebody who peaked in high school, but I just felt like my senior year, I'm like, I'm here and like, look at me, I'm hot.
Yeah.
And, like I should be popular.
Right.
And so I I was friends with the president of student council who counted the votes. Oh, I know so much. Also, I could tell other stories about this, but apparently I lost to one of my nemesis. Is that how you say it?
Are you going to say me?
No, you were my friend.
Okay.
No, I won't say her name because we'll just have to record us saying Jane Smith and then that's fine. But I still don't like her. I wish she would get fat. It's fine. But she went around. It was like we were neck and neck. And it was the whole school. So it was the year that the whole school voted, not just this was the first time this was happening.
Yep.
And there was like 2 or like a dozen, I don't know, a handful of people that hadn't voted. And my arch nemesis, she took it upon herself to take the ballots and stand and watch people vote.
How did she know who hadn't voted yet?
She was on student council and the president was out that day. So she took the ballots and stood and watched everybody vote. And she beat me by 1 vote.
I'm trying to think of who this is.
I mean, technically she did deserve to be on court because she was popular her whole fucking life. But I should have been. It would have been the comeback story of the year.
It gives me some great points to use for what I was originally talking about. Jen's heartfelt angst about this.
Yes, because I was better.
Okay, so 2 things here that I'm going to glean out of this therapy session. So the first is voting. I'm sorry, you're not going to convince me otherwise. It's always going to have some tie into popularity. It is. I am sorry. That is the way life works. I apologize if you are not popular, and I am telling you this for the first time and is blowing your mind. I am sorry if you are popular and this is offending you because you won an award because you're popular. That is how it works. In life. Life isn't fair.
And she was kind of mean. So I think also people were scared of her.
Like to tie that into the wedding industry, I think people aren't necessarily scared of people, but you want to people please the people who may be feeding you business.
Big time.
So you might be voting for people that you don't necessarily think are the best, but that you don't want to piss off.
And I do think that the wedding industry is a little bit like high school.
It's a bit catty.
And I do say that. I actually will even say like I felt like the Milwaukee industry was like a small high school and Chicago is like a big high school.
Mm-hmm.
You know, so there's definitely, you can find your clique easier in Chicago because there's more people to pick from.
Yeah.
But it is a popularity game for sure.
So people should keep that in mind.
And I have never been quite popular. You guys, I've been just outside the door my whole life.
And you know what's funny? When I think of high school, I remember you as being popular. Like, I legitimately do not remember you not being popular. So
maybe it's all perspective.
It is all perspective. But this kind of leads into my last point about this is this kind of unless more people talk about this and what these awards legitimately are, this can be a bit not traumatizing, but it can affect people. I have heard multiple vendors kind of vent about things like this. And the reality of it is, it shouldn't matter.
Right.
Like, there is no legitimacy, real, I don't know how to make it more legitimate, but there's all these factors that we talked about that are in play. And if you are an up and coming vendor, my point is, don't let this get you down,
Yes.
right? If you're not in the game, if maybe you're not the most popular kid, if you don't want to pay $10,000 or you don't want to pay to advertise or you just don't want to play this game, that doesn't mean that you're not a great wedding vendor, and don't let it keep you up at night. That's my point.
Totally. Like it has for me.
Because Jen, you've just heard how traumatized she is.
25 years later, I just want everyone to know I should have been a homecoming cohort. But on the flip side, just to give the perspective too of these companies like the Knot, since we've called them out, or these other organizations, like,
yeah,
I think they mean well.
Yes.
The amount of unpaid labor to go out and find the best would be obnoxious. And so, it is one of these things, like, nobody is doing it, like, just putting it out there. I think transparency is key.
Right. Well, some people are doing it just to make money. If anybody is salty about not winning an award and you would like an award, first come, first serve to whoever Venmos Jen and I $50. Best of your name.
Exactly.
Nobody will know.
Yeah. We will have a best of Planner's Passport Award every year. You pay us, we'll do it. And we'll just let everyone know that they paid us.
No, we won't let anybody know. We're going to just get into this, right? Just like everybody else.
Oh, yeah. Yes, exactly. I'm tired of making money the fair way. I agree. One thing that I've heard about this next generation of kiddos getting married, this Gen Zers, is that they have been on social media before. I mean, now it's existed throughout their whole lives.
Yeah.
They're way more aware of, like, you know how our boomer parents think everything's true, and we're in the middle. And we're in the middle where we're like, that's true. And then an hour later, we look into it and we're like, oh, it's not, I think Gen Z are very wise to that.
Yeah.
And they, from what I've heard, like, for them,
Yes.
Instagram number of followers does not matter. TikTok followers does not matter.
Yeah.
What they're looking for is quality and to like you and to know that your values are in line. And I think that's great, because I think Megan and I, that's the type of planners we've always been, it's so important that our values align with our clients. And so it's like, I think in a way we were born to be Gen Z wedding planners. And they think I'm cool. No, they probably don't, but it's fine.
How old do you think that we're going to be able to get before we're totally not relevant anymore?
I would say 10 more years. Because I don't think we look our age. So I think
I'm only 28, so.
Then maybe you could do it longer.
I'm just kidding.
I'm going to get my first facelift in 10 years, so maybe that'll keep me in the game longer.
Sponsored by Botox.
Gosh, I want to get one of those, like, Kris Jenner facials. Have you seen her?
No.
I don't watch the Kardashians, but she, like, pops up on my... Look her up. She looks insane. Insanely good.
Yeah, well, they have a lot of money for personal care.
Well, aren't we, once we start doing award shows?
Yeah, we'd have to charge more than $50 per category, I think.
Okay, have we hit all your points?
Yes, it was just a simple little PSA to people out there to remind them that just do your thing.
Yeah.
Be good at what you do. Be friendly. Be kind. Don't suck.
Yeah.
You'll get business. You don't need an award on your shelf.
Also, just be kind in a way that feels good to you. You do not have to people please. You don't have to overdo that either. I'm so tired of being nice to people. So anywho's, it's well, thank you for your PSA. I enjoyed it.
Yeah.
I learned something
about yourself, about prom.
It was homecoming.
Okay, homecoming.
But I just want everyone to know, too, that I'm taking a month off of dating, so you're not going to hear any stories for at least a month.
You're going to focus on you.
I am. It's the summer of Jen.
I love that for you.
Yeah, thank you. I'm excited about it.
Yeah.
So, okay, well,
all right.
Is that it?
I think so. I'm excited for all of our guests that we have coming up, and everybody remember about our trip and remember about your dreams. If you have wedding dreams, if you're a wedding vendor and have like stress dreams about weddings, let us know. And we're going to ask our guest about a few of these on the upcoming podcast.
And one more plug too. You know how warm it is outside right now and how amazing it is? Well, it's not going to be that way in November. So you should come to the Bahamas with us.
Yes. We promise you a good time. Maybe we'll give out some awards.
Ooh, maybe I'll wear a homecoming queen sash.
There you go. There you go. This is just shaping up to be a great time.
All right.
All right. See ya.
Bye.
Bye. Thanks so much for joining us again this week. If you have a wedding or travel-related story of your own that you would like us to share in a future episode, send us an email to theplannerspassport@gmail.com.
And be sure to follow us on Instagram at The Planners Passport and follow all of our travel and wedding businesses, including We Roam Solo, Dare to Dream Travel, and Dare to Dream Weddings. And please, if you enjoy our show, remember to rate, review, and subscribe from wherever you are listening to this podcast.